Let me start this video by saying this is 100% my opinion. I do not want to pick a fight with anybody over this movie. I simply just want to tell you an opinion you might not hear. And that's what this review is. I understand it's a review, so I'm coming at it from a reviewing angle and a critiquing angle, but just know it's my opinion still, my viewing experience, how I perceived the movie. If you liked it and you felt differently about this flick, I'm happy for you. I'm glad for you. I'm glad this worked for you. Because we are talking John Wick Chapter 4. I do not think I have talked about any of the other John Wicks in big detail on this channel. A long time ago, I think I talked about the first movie in preparation for the second movie. But with John Wick, somehow this series that was supposed to be like a direct-to-video original movie got the theatrical bump to cinemas, boosted Keanu's career, boosted this genre. The two directors attached to that first movie have now made an entire subgenre of action films based on that aesthetic. Now we have the fourth one in this franchise, Chapter 4. We have a larger budget, a larger scope, and nothing else to really say. Again, I need to preface it this because it's very important for this video. I don't like this franchise too much. I'm one of the few people that think, yeah, this has just been going on for a long time, and we haven't really said anything, have we? Now, I'm not saying you need to say something for a movie to work or you have to have an opinion, but when we're in the fourth installment and you have offered nothing new to me except for a larger scale, I don't feel anything towards that. I need to be reinvigorated and just see something new being conceived in front of me. You're not getting that in this movie. I had a really bad time watching this film. It was one of the, I think, I don't know. It might be the worst movie I've seen this year thus far. And it's early in the year, and I don't want to criticize that. For me, that is what this was. I completely, 100% understand how this is going to work for other people. It is a Top Gun Maverick, The Way of Water situation, where this is going to please a crowd more than a lot of films released this year. Big action sequences, aesthetic that is appealing and interesting, and that is going to make a lot of people happy. I am just not one of those people who is drawn into that world. This is not my type of beat. There are specific moments where I'm watching this movie, you hear the bass drop, you hear the techno come on, we're slowing down the motion to see cool people with sunglasses in the rain, and I'm just going, yeah, this is too pretentious for me. I can completely see the cool vibes this is giving off. I can see it coming a mile away, and those vibes just don't jive with what I'm doing. This is not a film I enjoyed at all. There are a few key moments where I'm like, that is an innovative thing you've done. Two in particular, there's a sequence towards the middle of the first act where it's these two legendary actors fighting each other with weapons in a samurai-style showdown. And I'm like, cool. If more of the movie had this type of vibe where you're taking it seriously and you're taking the action in a calm, serious direction, I'd be happy. And then there's a really cool bird's eye view POV shot that's a long tracking take where we're looking down. Almost it's like a level of a video game of Keanu Reeves walking through like this literal like entire complex of a building for like 5 minutes, and I'm like, oh my goodness, that is the only time in this movie I felt there was a genuinely new thing you are showing me. That is a cool filmic technique you have not done yet in this genre or in this franchise. That was cool. The rest of it is overextended scenes of stuff you've seen a million times before. The same sequences of we're adding up the price to kill John Wick, the same sequences of we have to talk to a mysterious person from our past to do something. I think this movie best resembles an this is so dumb, but this is literally the vibe I had, maybe because I'm doing a rewatch of the show. It reminds me of the couple few like longer episodic arcs of South Park where you see the characters like, oh, it's the streaming wars or it's like the console wars, so they're like dividing up teams and they're going to like, we have to find this person to do this, and then when somebody gets mad at the other person, suddenly Kenny becomes a princess and he gets a new power that way, or it's just people adding on to their own bullshit doing this thing. It is so much like kids playing in the backyard, just coming up with new ideas and rules for the game that they are playing in real time, so none of it feels like it's honest. My goodness, are the rules and complexity to this society just so boring to see for the fourth time? It's exciting the first time when it's like, here's a hotel for like assassins and secret organizations. But then 4 movies in, when Keanu Reeves is horseback in the desert somewhere, killing some weird guy in the middle of nowhere, to return to New York to have to once again go excommunicado and be tracked out by these people. He's going to secret clubs where people are protecting him in order to actually stop this from happening, which is the same plot that's been for the next 2 movies before this. He has to get reinstated into one of the families, and because there's like 12 families that sit at the table, and he has to do that. And then the one lady who is like, I guess Russian, but she was in Berlin or something, she's like, I'll let you come back into this family, which is the one you left, but you have to go kill the uncle that killed the person that was the head before me. So if he's dead, then I will I'll reinstate you to this family. And then when you're reinstated to this family, then I will accept you want to duel the Marquis that challenged you. But then we're going to do it in Paris. Oh, man. There are so many just really convoluted, stupid moments that they look cool. A bunch of dudes playing a game of, poker just at a table to see who's going to shoot who. Sure, it looks cool, but it adds nothing and means nothing. A bunch of cool guys sitting in front of the Eiffel Tower just flipping cards over to see who's going to have the higher deck. Sure, it looks cool, but it means nothing. This world is so complex and lame at the same time, where it's just watching wow, it's the cool idea that we're going to have a duel at sunrise in Paris, but ultimately, why? What are we serving? What new thing are we seeing? It's just okay, I get it. Why do we have to do all this rigmarole in weird world? I don't understand how this world works. Why does it feel like every single person that lives in this world is against John? And what is he fighting for at this point? His freedom? Is it now just because he got his one acquaintance sucked into his own bullshit? It's so weird. What is he trying to prove now? The movie wants to actively tell you there's something he's trying to prove, but there really isn't. And just the rules make it exhausting. The world building makes it exhausting. Again, it's just suddenly there's a new friend that you make one day at the playground, and you're playing with your old friend. You're like, hey, we're wizards, or we're knights or something. And then one new kid comes up, he's like, yeah, and I got this power where I have a magic dog or something, and I have this special coin that makes it so you can't hurt me in here, and we have these special arrows and stuff, and I have this technology that makes doorbells rings when I'm blind. I like Donnie Yen. What a weird performance. I think he's my favorite performance because the guy looked like he was having more fun than anybody. They just told him to make it look effortless. He looked the most cool, but still somehow didn't look that great. This is just LARPing for cool people, right? Is that what this aesthetic is? When you have the average audience goer looking at these bright neon lights and this big techno song and these cool guys just beating each other with guns and stuff. It's just LARPing in a situation you'd want to play with, right? Now, again, the world's not for me. I've never connected to this franchise. I do not actively like stories that involve people just using guns. Because there comes a point when we're 2.5 hours into this movie, you have to ask yourself, could all of our problems be solved if the Marquis, if the table, or John Wick just used a drone and drone strike to everybody? Why aren't we doing that? Why is it some gentleman's code? But it's not a gentleman's code because he broke the code by putting the bounty on John Wick. So I don't understand what any of that is. It's just a really contrived plot to make cool action sequences. And the action sequences are cool. I'm not going to deny you that. If you can sit down and enjoy every single second of this movie, that is so cool. I'm so happy for you because there's a lot of cool stuff to like here. The ways and the places they use to do the fight scenes is very impressive. A big round, I don't know what you call that. Is it a roundabout? I don't know it's a famous location in Paris where there's the circle roundabout with the cars driving. We have a 15-minute action sequences between actual stuntmen in this location getting hit by cars that are coming at you at various speeds. That's really impressive. That's the most unique thing this thing did. There's a fight going up some stairs where I'm yeah, that's kind of cool, but is it cool? I don't know. It was interesting, and it's nice to see all this stuff in focus, but again, it doesn't do enough new from the first 3 movies. Sure, the first one was low budgets. It was half the length of this movie, So it was different. And then you have two sequels that just get progressively bigger and bigger, and the bigger you get, you're just making things look nicer without actually giving us anything to hold on to. But again, I do this for a living. I talk about movies and television. All I do is talk about this stuff. So when I am given this experience to see another action flick with another stylized director and an actor who is really bad, Keanu Reeves is a bad actor, love him as a man, bad actor, I'm not blown away when everything comes together in a mishmash that just doesn't work for me. None of that affects me, but I'm not the average moviegoer. When I go to a packed showing of this movie and I see people enjoying themselves and understanding what's going on and liking it, I'm not upset by that. I'm glad this movie is getting a $7 million opening weekend. I'm glad this movie is finding its audience. But if you are somebody who is just like, what are we really doing? How many more of these do we have in us? And this one doesn't do anything new. It adds too much bullshitty rules to the plot and the characters. New characters show up that don't really do anything interesting. Everyone just kind of like has a distinguished look. Bill Skarsgård, he's French and rich. Clancy Brown, he has a scar over his eye. But what are we doing with them, though? There's nothing really to say about that. It's a very strange movie, and I don't know if this world needs to continue. It goes to some directions I'm not going to really talk about, but do we want to see more of this? I do think there is like a half-life in pop culture now where things just degrade and degrade quicker. So if we were to do maybe a 5 or a 6, is there interest in that still? This feels like the biggest we could do for this scope, and it's kind of just staying in place, treading water, or downhill from here. It's very interesting that way, but it is just LARPing for gun people, I think. You just like, this is a really cool thing to see. This is like a badass dude doing badass stuff. Bad script, bad dialogue, great directing, great action sequences. The stuntmen deserve the Academy Award. They need to give stunt work a category at the Oscars or just in more award shows, because the work you're doing here is more impressive than anything else you've given awards to before. This is a big action movie. I just don't happen to like the people involved in the action, the story involved in the action, and everything else just kind of looks bland and stupid. I like a quiet movie. I've always been that way. I like a story that is quieter, so when it's just bumping this loud techno music in this big dance club. By the way, watch that dance, like the club where they go fight Scott Adkins in like the weird club scene. The extras are really weird in that movie because half of them are like, whoa. The other half are just like, yeah, let's dance still. Strange movie, but it's bigger budget. I don't know, not for me, not my world. I'm glad other people like it. I'm glad it's finding its audience. It's always had its audience. I'm just not one of them. It's just kids playing in their backyard, making up new rules to their game. Cool. Instead of having like a big ultimate fight, what if just a showdown where we shoot each other with old guns but new bullets or something? Everyone's got a gimmick. It loses its value. It's John Wick. You'll be happy. But if you think too much about it or care enough about what we could be doing with the ideas we have here, you might just walk away whatever. It's just kind of simple with stuff you've seen a million times over at this point, and bad acting. Ooh, bad acting. So, I might be the only person to say this, but John Wick Chapter 4, I'm going to give a 4 out of 10. So thank you all for watching this review. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And I will catch you in the next one. I promise they're not all like this. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck.